this is Felissa Rose. I'm Angela from Sleepaway Camp, and you're listening to Rock Video Rental.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Rock Video Rental. We are starting ROCKtober Part VI. This year we're going to be doing all slasher movies. So there's not going to be more than one from each franchise, so I'll say that. We're starting it off with an earlier one, and maybe a slightly lesser known one, and that's 1981's The Prowler. It is directed by Joseph Zito. And the plot is an unknown killer clad in World War II U.S. Army fatigues stalks a small California town bent on reliving a 35-year-old double murder by focusing on a group of college kids holding an annual graduation dance. The cast, we got Vicki Dawson as Pam, Christopher Goutman as Mark, Lawrence Tierney as Major Chatham, Farley Granger as Sheriff Fraser, Cindy Weintraub as Lisa, Lisa Dunset Heath as Sherry, and David Cederholm as Carl. I know this is a first time watch for you.
Oh, you do? How dare you assume that?
I've seen this one a handful of times. I believe I have it on DVD. I know I have it on Betamax.
Rock.
Behind me where I'm sitting, I got like a crazy good deal on that thing because that goes for like hundreds of dollars. I paid like next to nothing for it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is a Tom Savini special effects slasher movie.
That
Um,
is quite evident in how well the special effects were.
yeah, you could always tell it's Savini. Did you recognize the name of the director?
I did not.
He was the director of Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter,
Oh, okay.
which many consider the best of the Friday the 13th movies.
Rock.
Yeah.
I have something real quick before we dive in.
Yeah.
I got major vibes from this movie of My Bloody Valentine.
Was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that too. Um, so like I said, I've seen this movie quite a few times. Back when I really started getting into slasher movies, so this one and My Bloody Valentine were like two that I watched. And then like going back and remembering them like a couple of years later, they started like running together for me. And I
Yeah.
thought I was the only person that thought that. And I'm like, okay, why am I mixing these two up? Like maybe it's just me. But I mean, the looks of the killers are similar. The plot's pretty similar.
Yes.
Um, My Bloody Valentine is a Canadian movie, and it's very Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they drink Moosehead beer and like they
What's
say
up, A?
sorry and yeah. Um,
What you
and then
talking
you
about?
yeah, a boot. Yeah. Um, but I feel like the Prowler might be the most Canadian feeling American slasher movie. Uh,
Well, they
but yeah,
both
these
came
two,
out in 1981, didn't they?
yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Um, and also for this time watching it, I watched the Joe Bob's Last Drive-In episode. It was from the first season when the Last Drive-In started. And he calls it out too. Like he says the plot, and he's like, "Does it sound familiar?" Because it's basically just My Bloody Valentine. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one who thought that." But yeah, very, very similar feel to that one.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad because I mean both movies are pretty solid. I
Mhm.
would say before we dive in, if I was to pick one, I would probably say My Bloody Valentine's um higher on my list than this one.
Yeah, I
Uh,
would probably say that from like an entertainment aspect. I think if
uh,
my recollection, I liked My Bloody Valentine better. However, the kills in this and the special effects definitely are better in this movie.
yeah, this one wasn't as cut down as My Bloody Valentine was.
Hmm.
My Bloody Valentine got a decent amount of censorship. I believe there is a special edition Blu-ray of My Bloody Valentine that has like the full length kills in it, and they're
Okay,
a lot more mean-spirited and brutal. Which
gotcha.
I mean, this one's a pretty mean-spirited slasher movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean that happens with Tom Savini movies, but
Is he angry? Did somebody hurt him? Did he have a tough
he was in
childhood?
Vietnam as a photojournalist or whatever.
So he's
So
seen some stuff.
yeah, that's why his stuff's so realistic.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, things that are great in this movie, the kills,
Oh yeah,
the
absolutely.
kills, the effects, and I think the killer looks really cool.
Yes, I would agree with that. Now,
Uh,
you'll have to remind me of this because I feel like this is something that you know, or at least
mm,
might have an idea of. Is this one of the earlier movies with POV shots for the killer,
Um,
or did that happen
I
a lot
I
earlier than
suppose.
this?
Okay, so the first one I can think of that has POV shots is well, I mean Psycho, obviously, with the shower scene.
Hmm.
And then there's Peeping Tom, which I can't remember. Did we watch that movie for
I don't think so.
Classic Horror Month? I don't think we did. But that one's got a lot of POV shots in it too. And I mean, obviously Halloween, Black Christmas, those predate this as well.
Oh yeah,
And
that's right.
Friday the 13th, I mean, because this is from 81, so any slasher from 80. Uh
And then the late 70s. I forgot that there was a lot more in the late 70s
yeah.
that also
Yeah,
did
some
it.
of those
So
late 70s proto slashers. Um, I mean, the stuff from 1980 as well,
yeah.
like Friday the 13th and Fade to Black.
Okay. All
Uh,
right. I
yeah.
couldn't remember because, well, I mean, we're coming up on a year since we recorded the last Rocktober, and
Yeah.
so I
It's
gotta.
it became like an archetype. There was like a formula that Halloween kind of set in place,
Mm,
and all the other slasher movies kind of like built around that skeleton
hmm.
of, something happens in the past, killer comes back, POV shots, final girl.
Yeah.
That's, you know, over the top kills and stuff. And I mean, this has all of that. I thought the acting is fairly decent. I mean, for a
Yeah.
slasher movie.
Hmm.
And like, I don't think anybody was like, truly amazing. And the characters aren't even like fully fleshed out.
Yeah.
It's
There wasn't a
because like
lot.
I mean, I can always remember Pam. She's the main girl with the blonde hair.
There wasn't a
Um,
lot of people that you were just like, oh my gosh, I hope they don't kill or they don't kill this person or anything like that.
yeah,
So
yeah. There's no one that really stands out like that. There's no Shelly from Friday the 13th Part 3 or something like that,
yeah.
where it's just a super memorable character. Um, I think the main takeaways from this movie are probably the looks of the killer and the Tom Savini special effects. But
Hmm.
um, I thought the music was above average. I mean, it's a little par for the course. You got stringed instruments, and it's kind of too loud at some time, like some points.
Yeah.
It's a little Friday the 13th, but it's pretty decent. That heard plenty worse in slasher movies. We might even hear some of those this month, so we'll
Just
see how
wait.
that goes. Yeah, and like I said, it's a very mean-spirited slasher, and the kills all seem so like personal,
Hmm.
where like the Prowler killer is just like, you did me wrong, so that I'm gonna get you kind of thing. Where it's not like, with Jason Voorhees, like, oh, you're there, so I'm gonna kill you.
I'm just gonna punch your head off your shoulders.
Yeah, because you tried to box me like an idiot. Uh, I guess we could just go through a quick run through of this movie because it is pretty fairly quick paced. I was surprised because even the last drive-in episode, which are usually, you know, at least 40 minutes longer than the movie because Joe Bob cuts in and gives facts and everything.
Hmm.
And sometimes he has interviews with people in the movie, but even that one was one of the shorter episodes I watched. But it starts off with a Dear John letter and like um stock footage from World War II.
Yeah.
A movie's gonna be great when they use a bunch of stock footage. Um, Monster movies were big for that. Uh, and then it's like this girl's breaking up with this guy because like, oh, you've just been gone too long, and like I can't wait any longer. And she's like, I'm just tired of being alone. And then like they're having like this dance thing, and the girl that he was dating is like out with this other guy, and that's when we get like our first kill. Uh, which I'm not even sure how that would work. Like, how long are those tines on that pitchfork?
Different ones are different lengths. I've done some stuff on farms before and they can get pretty long.
Yeah, but I feel like the tines would have to be like 4 feet long to go through a guy all the way through him and then into the girl.
Yeah, I would
I mean,
agree.
it's an effective kill for
And
sure,
and
but yeah.
besides that, the amount of force it would take to push it through not just one but two human bodies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So now if you launched one, like if you shot one as a projectile,
Yeah.
absolutely, I could believe that. But like a human pushing it through, because you're also going like you have to make sure you're not hitting too many
Bone.
bones.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because it's got four tines on it.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, so it's what Roy and Rosemary
Hmm.
get impaled together. And then it's like, boom, we're in 1980
Yeah. I was like, what the heck is going on?
with in breakneck speed. So it's like 1945 to 1980. And then we're really quick with the shower scene.
Hmm.
The one girl's getting a shower, and like her boyfriend walks in, and then she's like, oh, basically like go out and wait for me or something, or join me or whatever. And he walks out in the bedroom, and then like the Prowler comes up and grabs him. And this is probably one of the most memorable kills of the movie. One you see probably the most, but like the Prowler grabs him from behind and he stabs a bayonet into the top of his head and it comes up like under his chin.
Hmm.
And then like his eyes roll in the back of his head.
Yeah. Which,
And that's just that one's like super effective too.
oh yeah, it was really good. My little note on that kill, I just thought it was a little bit funny, which of course we'll come back to this later towards the end of the movie. But if somebody got stabbed like that in the head, I'm
Yeah.
fairly certain that they're going to stop fighting pretty quickly.
Yeah, it'd be like insta kill.
Yeah, like your arms would drop limp at your side. But,
Yeah.
minor note, minor note.
Yeah, I always thought that too watching this. Then the girl who's in the shower, her name is Sherry. The Prowler comes after her, and this is the other like most played kill because that one's like really effective. He's coming at her with the pitchfork, and she's like backed up against the shower wall, and there's like she has nowhere to go.
Hmm.
Of course, like you see her naked the whole time. Um, and the pitchfork gets jabbed into her stomach, and then she like fights back, and blood comes out of her mouth and everything, and they show a close up.
Yeah,
And there's
I
just
don't know how
something
they
about
did
like
that.
the mix of boobs and pitchfork and blood that just like it yeah, it's like emotions everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I was looking at it and I was just like, dude, I don't understand how they're doing this. Like, because it looked real.
Yeah, I believe it was a prosthetic and a pitchfork. It was like a cut with a pitchfork that had like the tines cut off.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I saw that one time. I watched something with Tom Savini where they went over like the top kills of uh his special effects career and he explained how he did them.
Okay. Yeah,
But yeah, he's a
I
really
could see that.
interesting guy to listen to if you ever like look up his interviews and stuff. He's got like lots of stories, and it's obvious that like special effects makeup and everything is like his passion
Hmm.
because he gets like super excited talking about all of his kills and everything.
Yeah.
Um, and then from there we get like the random uh dance scenes and everything with his band that plays like pretty much one song over and over. I
Yeah, which
was like, does this
talking about a
band
girl
know any other
bleeding.
songs? Huh?
What were the lyrics?
I don't even remember now.
Well, they were saying something about watch her bleed,
Yeah,
and I'm just like, what the heck is like? Yeah, let's have this at our dance. What the heck is that about?
yeah, it's a very like I when Joe Bob mentioned it, he said it was a hair band, but it's not a hair band.
No,
I would
not.
say it's more of just like a late 70s, early 80s rock band.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know you probably never heard of them, but Red Rider, I get kind of like the feeling of
Okay.
kind of similar to that, or something like Montrose or something like that. Uh, but yeah, like they're not horrible, but it's just like they play pretty much one song over and over and over for this. And like you think about it, there's people at a dance. I was like, man, they're playing this song again. I
Right.
mean, it's really all they got. Uh, and then I feel like this movie's kind of rapid fire with its kills at some points.
Yeah, once it gets rolling.
Yeah, we get Lisa. She is in the pool, swimming around, of course, naked, and the Prowler like kicks her in the face when she tries to get out. And she's knocked kind of silly and goes back in, and she's like trying to swim to the other side to get out of there, and the Prowler like jumps her, and she comes out of the water, and like he slits her throat. And as gory and um graphic as that is, dude, that's the cover of the Betamax tape I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's that shot, and then it's got like a weird pink frame around it.
Oh, weird.
Like yeah, like hot pink frame around it, and it's got like this huge logo of the company that distributed it. It's like VCI or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, very strange. Uh that one is like super effective, and there's like you see the blood going in the pool and like her legs kicking, and all of a sudden she stops. And then we get a woman gets stabbed in the neck too with a bayonet, and that one's kind of a little graphic. That one's more the more subdued ones, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the most subdued kill in this movie.
Yeah.
Uh, this whole time, like I feel like Pam gets chased by because Pam's the final girl. She gets chased by the Prowler like super early in the movie.
Yeah, and then he just like doesn't care and lets her go.
Yeah, like she gets away, and then he moves on to someone else. They're trying to figure out who it is, and you got your red herrings everywhere, where it's like, oh man, is it oh, what's his name? Major Chatham. But
Yeah.
it's like he's in a wheelchair, so it's obviously not him because the Prowler's walking around.
Yeah, and then unless he's faking it, but yeah, there was that, and then there was that weird like guy working at the general store. There was the guy working at the counter, and then the guy loading the truck. Those were two weird people.
Yep.
So, and feel like there was another one, but
Yeah, there's typical slasher fare where there's a bunch of red herrings where it's like, oh, it could be that guy. Ooh, it could be this guy. But we get the cemetery scene, which I always forget about in this movie.
okay.
Um, and it's like they find out that the grave of Rosemary's been disturbed.
Hmm.
Like, what's going on there? And like, oh, it had to be somebody that was around back then, and that's when they think it's Major Chatham. Obviously it's not, because like I said, he's in a wheelchair.
Can
And
I ask
then
you a question?
yeah,
What
yeah.
what happened to the major?
I don't know.
He
He's just old, I guess.
well, he was outside in his wheelchair, and then they never found him.
Yeah. I'm just thinking maybe because Lawrence Tierney was probably the biggest name in this movie. He had like a long career before that. That was a really common thing in early 80s slashers. Let's get one big name actor and then a whole bunch of kind of unknowns.
Okay.
So we can kind of like say that, oh, this big name actor's in it. Like Betsy Palmer was Mrs. Voorhees.
Yeah.
But a lot of times with these movies too, where it's like they're not really in it that much.
Sure.
Yeah. Where like Pieces that we watched last year had Christopher George in it. He was a bigger name.
Mm-hmm.
So he was kind of like, oh, he's the big name actor in this. Uh, yeah, I would say Lawrence Tierney and Farley Granger are probably the bigger names in this. Um, and then it's like soon after that we get the like the standoff or whatever in that old house
Mm-hmm.
where we find out that it's Sheriff Frazier
Yeah.
is the Prowler
That was
and he's
pretty
coming after Pam
decent.
and yeah, like that kind of surprised me a little bit the first time I saw it. Um, they scuffle around a lot and he's about ready to kill her and then like the hillbilly guy comes in and he blows him away with a shotgun. And then they have like this really awkward moment where she like stands there and smiles at him
Too
and
long. Too
smiles
long.
at her and they play like this happy music and then he gets blown away by the Prowler who's okay.
Yeah.
And I just thought of like, it's just been revoked.
Yeah, that was awkward because they drew it out too long.
Yeah, a little bit. Like it should have been shortened by like a second or so.
Yeah.
Um, and then she fights over the shotgun with the sheriff, and then he ends up getting his head blown off, which is an awesome special effect. I mean, I always say that head explosions are the best.
Yeah.
And it's another classic Tom Savini head explosion. I mean, he had another one in Maniac that was pretty epic. And that was actually his death in Maniac, where his head explodes. Um, this one was done really well too. And it was actually like a cast of Farley Granger's head, and it was filled with shrimp dip.
What?
Yeah, because they had that like left over from catering.
Oh my
So
gosh.
like they pumped it full of that and like fake blood and stuff. So when it went off, it like had chunks and everything in it. And I mean, shrimp are pink, just like brains are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it made it like this big splat. But yeah, that always cracks me up too. Um, and then like she goes back to the house with the deputy or lieutenant or whoever the heck it is, with the helmet hair.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't even go in with her. Like I thought that was kind of weird. Like he just kind of leaves her.
Well, the bad guy was killed. Everything was fine, right?
Yeah. And then like she goes into the dorm or whatever it is and opens the shower and then Carl's like hanging there.
Mm-hmm.
The dude that was stabbed in the top of the head, and then he reaches out and grabs her.
Yes.
And I'm like, why did you have that? Like, they should have just went to black after the sheriff's head exploded.
Well, I wouldn't have. Yes, that would have worked out just fine in my opinion. If they wanted to have her go back to to the dorm, they should have just had her walk into the room, and then you hear the shower,
Yeah,
because that's going to bring you back to being like, oh crap, the dead bodies are still in there. And
yeah.
then they wouldn't have, the camera could have stayed in the hallway. It wouldn't have had to follow her in. You just pause for a second, and then it cuts outside to the deputy guy, and then you hear her
Hmm.
scream inside. That's it.
And then he rushes in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's enough, because it's just like, oh yeah, oh man, could you imagine that trauma of being chased by a killer? You think it's done, and then you go back to your dorm room and you realize you have dead bodies in your bathroom.
yeah. It could have been that, or the sheriff gets his head blown off, and then she like staggers out of the house, and the deputy guy or whatever's there, and like he starts helping her to the car, and then they start playing credits or something over it.
Yeah, that
Would
would
have
have
been
been fun
another
too.
way too. But yeah, like I don't understand. Like this dude was stabbed through the brain,
Hmm.
and then he's able to like reach out and grab her. Like I don't know. I feel like that was too much of a carry ending.
Yeah, that was unnecessary in my opinion. So also I found
Yeah.
it kind of weird that he didn't kill. I mean, I kind of understand why he didn't, but also at the same time why he didn't kill the deputy because he
Yeah.
knocked him out.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that was. I think the cutting to black, like you suggested, may have been the best one because then you wouldn't have had to address that. You would have left thinking, "Oh, he killed the deputy too."
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But part of the thing that I I was thinking of too is just like, how are they going to prove who? I mean, yeah, they probably had fingerprint records, probably, but like, can't tell who it was because his head's blown off.
Yeah.
So it's going to kind of be like, who, if he never registered his fingerprints or anything, not going to be able to exactly prove who it was. Well, I guess, except for maybe the sheriff would never come back and you put two and two together, I guess.
Would any of his teeth be able to be salvaged to do a dental record?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I I I never really did look into enough, but I think dental records are basically like the x-rays of your teeth and the
Ah, okay.
position and the size that they are. So like if you just have individual teeth, I don't know that that would give you and I could be wrong. I'm just basing this off of like what I've seen in the movies and then I think what was it, the whole 9 yards. I think
Hmm.
they talked about the process of like faking dental records a little bit more in depth. So I could be wrong, but that's what my understanding has been.
Rock.
So
Oh. But yeah, I think our ideas for endings were a little bit better.
yeah.
So I named all the kills, so I guess trivia and facts is pretty much what I got left. Um, so the kill in the pool, that I mentioned, that was Lisa who had her throat slit.
Hmm.
It took 4 hours to shoot,
Oh wow.
and the red dye from the fake blood stained the actress's skin.
Oh man.
And it took her 3 days to get it all to come out.
Oof.
Yeah. The cemetery scenes were shot in an actual cemetery on Halloween night in 1980.
Okay.
The open grave was used in the film was an actual open grave awaiting a funeral.
Hmm.
So Tom Savini actually considers this his best special effects work,
Oh, rock.
and I would say it's probably up there. In 2014, it was discovered that the Prowler had been re-released to a handful of theaters in North and South Carolina as Pitchfork Massacre in the spring of 1984. It is still unknown who the distributor was or whether they had legally acquired the rights to do so.
Weird.
Yeah. This movie was also called Rosemary's Killer
Okay.
in the UK, um, because I guess it was the UK and other like European countries as well, because apparently there's like no translation for Prowler in some of the other countries,
Okay.
like in Italian or something like that. So they
Hmm.
call it Rosemary's Killer, which I mean makes sense, but I think the Prowler sounds better.
Oh yeah.
This film is the reason that director Joseph Zito was later selected to direct Friday the 13th, the final chapter,
Rock.
which also had Tom Savini as special effects.
I thought that was the case.
The house used for the Major Chatham's house was actually a museum. The furniture inside was all antique, and the owners would only allow a skeleton crew to shoot inside.
So they broke a bunch of antiques in that one scene.
Probably, yeah. Farley Granger was cast in the film because the wife of one of the film's investors happened to be taking an acting class with him.
Hmm.
Yeah. Shooting this the film's special makeup effects would usually take a full day for each setup. The film's entire shoot schedule was built around the filming of the effects.
Rock makes sense.
So Joseph Zito once told a guard at a movie theater where the film was being screened that he was the director of the movie. The guard responded, "You really did kill those people, right?"
What?
Because the effects were so great. Tom Savini was brought in to do the special effects after he finished working on another slasher film, Maniac, like I mentioned earlier.
Hmm.
Savini himself did all the Prowler's kills wearing the Prowler costume in each death scene. Later in 1984, he returned to do Friday the 13th, the final chapter, like I mentioned, and helped Jason actor Ted White with the death scenes in that film.
Rock.
Yeah. According to audio commentary, uh, Embassy Pictures offered $750,000 for distribution rights for the film. Um, the Prowler cost $1 million to produce. Director Joseph Zito stated that the producer declined the offer and instead decided to distribute the film himself. A decision that Zito believes actually hurt the film's box office.
Hmm.
Yeah. Farley Granger had a difficult time when Tom Savini was creating the cast of his face for the film. Granger was claustrophobic, and Savini had to encase his entire head to make the plaster cast of Granger for the film's finale. The process caused him decent amount of stress.
Oh, I bet.
So it took 18 takes of Cindy Weintraub as Lisa being kicked in the face by the Prowler
Oh my gosh.
before director Joseph Zito was satisfied that they had a good take. Fortunately, the foot that kicks her in the face was made of rubber, and it was fake.
Hmm.
And the last thing I got is this movie had a $1 million budget. Um, and the best I could find is it made less than the budget in the box office. I couldn't find a solid number, but it was less than $1 million,
Hmm.
which is kind of surprising because it's a pretty good slasher movie,
Yeah.
fairly decent. Um, Grades, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think they are?
Um, IMDb 6.7.
It is a 5.9.
Really? Wow. Thought for sure it'd be in the sixes. Thought I was aiming a little high, but not that high. Rotten Tomato critic. Let's go 77.
75.
Okay, pretty close. Banking on the audience maybe liking a little bit more, so let's say 78.
48.
Oh, dang.
I was
Oh,
kind of surprised.
huh.
I guess I'll go first with grade. Um, like I said, this is one of the movies, like when I started researching slasher movies and looking up which ones that people considered some of the better ones, this was one that stood out and like people said, it's one of the best slasher movies to never have a sequel. And I'd have to agree with that. It is pretty similar to My Bloody Valentine, but I mean, you can't really go wrong with Tom Savini special effects. And it's an early 80s slasher. Usually those are better than the later ones. I mean, Joseph Zito has done some decent movies as well. I think my biggest issue is that it feels a little rushed at times, and none of the characters really like stand out too much. I do really like the look of the Prowler, and obviously the kills are great. I ended up falling on a 4 out of 5.
Rock.
I think I always say, and I've said in Slasher Quest before that I've done on YouTube, that I always think of slasher movies like in tiers,
Okay.
where like, you got your tier one is like Halloween, Black Christmas, Nightmare on Elm Street, and then you got like tier two would be something like Sleepaway Camp, My Bloody Valentine, and I would probably put this in tier two. Like I think it's pretty solid. It's a step down from like the better ones, but it's miles better than a lot of garbage that came out in the 80s
Hmm.
because I feel like it really did try and it's got a lot of the good things going for it. What about you?
Yeah, so I needed to step back for a second when thinking about the score for this one just because I was so amazed by the special effects for this movie that I was kind of coming in on being like, wow, this is amazing. But I needed to kind of recognize that I was specifically focusing on the special effects and not the movie as a whole. Granted, I'm not saying like the special effects are the only thing that make this movie good, but there were some areas for improvement in the acting. The editing and pace of this movie was really good. It was kind of short, direct to the point. There wasn't a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
One thing that was kind of that I thought was kind of interesting, I can't remember the characters' names, but it was kind of like the nerdy couple. Um, the guy wearing the glasses and the short girl with the dark hair.
Hmm.
Where they were doing some things and you were thinking that they were going to get killed, but then they didn't.
Yeah.
And so how they kind of took a little bit of time to do a little bit of a fake with that, a little red herring almost with that scene and everything. I thought that was kind of interesting. Part of me was feeling like, oh, well, that was a little bit of a waste of time, but also at the same time, it's just it keeps you guessing. Then at that point, on being like, okay, well, maybe when something feels like it's like, oh, for sure somebody's gonna die here, who knows what's gonna happen.
Hmm.
Um, but I think one of the things that holds this back from being um, a higher rating that I'm going to give it is that you didn't really care too much about any of the characters. They really tried to get you to connect more with Pam than anybody else, but really, I didn't even feel that connected with Pam, anyways.
Yeah.
And then after that, completely, like, there was nobody else that you really developed any repertoire with. And so, since Pam was not really that big of a character to get connected with, it kind of felt the same way with everybody, which I think is important in these kind of movies where you do want connection with as many characters as you can so that people want to root for someone to survive or specific people to survive, I guess I would say.
Hmm.
So I was actually right with you and landed on a 4 out of 5 at the end of the day, though.
Rock. Yeah, I would say it's fairly solid. I was surprised when I watched The Last Drive-In and Joe Bob gave it 2.5 stars out of five,
Oh, wow.
or 2.5 stars out of four, I think is what he usually does. Yeah, I was kind of surprised with that. But yeah, I've always really enjoyed this movie. So it was a good rewatch. Next time we're gonna be watching a slasher movie that is probably even more mean-spirited than this one. And some of the kills are pretty wild in it. It could probably be considered awesomely bad. Some of the acting's a little interesting, and it's also a slasher movie that has two titles and also a theme song that sounds like it should be on an 80s sitcom.
Oh, gosh.
And that is The Mutilator slash Fall Break. Um, so come by next time. We're gonna be talking about that. If you guys are liking the show, go back and watch the other five Rocktobers. There is lots of content to check out. Until then, as always, be kind and rewind.